Emerald City needs all the heart and courage it can get right now.
Hey, I'm Ryan J. on the Yellow Brick Road carpet at the premiere of Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return, in the year that marks the 75th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz, arguably the most seen and best loved movie ever made. Last year brought us a big screen prequel, but now we're set for a musical sequel, with an Oz like we've never seen before, all CG animated. It's Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return. You've been compared to Barbra Streisand in songs from Glee. Now you might get some Judy Garland comparisons. How does it feel to be in that league?
You know, I'm like, what am I thinking here? You know, this is like, I'm picking like the best of the best. I think it's always important to have such great role models and women that you look up to as performers. And, you know, I love Barbara, and Judy Garland is so beautiful. I think Somewhere Over the Rainbow is one of the first songs I remember hearing as a child. And just hearing the sound and having it had such an effect on me.
The Wicked Witch of the West in Oz is pretty terrifying. How do you think your jester would fare against her?
Oh, that'd be a good duel, but her face is green through birthright, and I think that would be daunting. I think even the jester would be thrown by his aunt's close up.
Dorothy Gale will stop you.
Aren't I quivering?
Your villain in this film obviously brings the funny, and that's something that you do. So how did you find the fun and the joy in that?
Well, you know, I think it's a strong script, and then because you're just in a studio, you can improvise and change lines and do anything you want, and so you're trying to find that level of sleazy, creepy charm, which can be terrifying.
Sounds like somebody needs an oil change. What'd you do, forget to prime your pump?
Burt Lahr portrayed the lion so iconically. How did you make this role your own?
Well, first of all, I don't do an imitation of it, you know, because that voice that he created was so specific. And I just try to keep the spirit alive, that's all.
Oh, Glinda, it's you. It's really you.
We have Oz royalty in the house right here, the great-grandson of L. Frank Baum, Roger Baum, his lovely wife Charlene. How does it feel to be crossing the finish line today at the premiere?
Oh my golly, there's hardly words to explain it. You know, it's been a long time in the coming, Ryan, so it does feel good.
It's been a journey of love.
You have the power to introduce Oz to a whole new generation, but also tap into those of us like you and I who've loved Oz for decades. How do you cover both bases with this project?
Well, I don't think it was that difficult, to be honest with you. I mean, one, I think everybody's been waiting for something. Remember, it's been 75 years. Whether you're 90 years of age or you're 7 or 8, you want to know what happened next, and we're about to tell you.
Gonna get things rolling. I know I can. Work with me.
Learn to work together and go forward. I think it's got a great message in the movie, and it's so wonderful to bring the talent today to a more current, make it more relevant today. I'm a bit over the rainbow too on this.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. No, it's been great. It's a magical movie, and we really have to thank all the people, artists, actors, musicians that made it happen. I really hope people are touched by it.
Was there anything intimidating about approaching an Oz project?
Oh, absolutely. You know, Wizard of Oz is so dear to so many people's hearts. I know as a kid, I watched it religiously every year, and it was always such a thrill and so inspiring to me. So how do you do a respectful sequel to a thing that is revered by millions? And I think we tried to acknowledge the original, but then do our own variation on it. You know, designs of characters, the new characters that we bring into the fold, I think they have to be in the spirit of the original ones.
You are a really fabulous owl.
Oh, you're very kind. I mean, I usually hear fat.
My name is Wiser.
Marshal Mallow, second in command of the garrison at Candy County.
The Princess of Dainty China Country.
Personally, a very meaningful story to me, the original Wizard of Oz book by L. Frank Baum. My Aunt Catherine gave me a copy for my 8th Christmas, which I still have. That story has always meant a lot to me. Searching for home, heart, smartness, and am I loving enough? All those questions that book asked. And so we wanted to do honor to that. You know, we have a very contemporary movie, a very contemporary cast. It's definitely a 21st century Oz. But we didn't want to sass it up to the point where people weren't familiar or comfortable with it.
We tested this movie often and early, and one of the things about testing it, you get people's results. You get a real feeling, and there are some things that we've added to this film that weren't in the original script. But the fans who we screened it for said, hey, we want this, and that's what we did.
Put it all together till the job is done. This should be easy, it should be fun.
When I think of Oz in general, music plays such a key part in all of the projects that have been hits. Wicked, The Wizard of Oz, the music from The Wiz. How intimidating was it to approach an Oz project and write songs?
It was so intimidating that I can't even tell you. The night before I began writing songs for this project, I watched a documentary called The Boys about the Sherman Brothers. And after it, I just was crying for half an hour saying, like, I do not want to be that person who duffs the song in another Wizard of Oz movie, because no one has. I don't want to be the first guy, so it was a lot of pressure.
How is it to see your music on a big screen in a film like this?
It's incredible. It's especially the fact that there's an overture, which I think is quite rare on films. For a composer, it's kind of bliss, to be able to do that. But at the same time, it's pressure because you want to do a good job, and the original Wizard of Oz had a pretty great overture.
Emerald City must be in that direction, I think.
Dorothy has been portrayed so iconically. How did you make the role your own?
She's spunky. She's got a little, a toughness to her that I think, was important, as being like the little, hero of this film.
This girl is one of the greatest heroes Oz has ever known.
Have you always been a big Wizard of Oz fan?
Yes, I mean, when I was a kid, that was the tradition. Before, anyone had DVDs, once a year, The Wizard of Oz was on in March. And you'd watch it, and, it was fantastic.
There's always a sweet time in our living room when it was on TV. No matter what was going on in the room or in the family, everything stopped, and we went into this wonderful world of storytelling. And I think The Legends of Oz has that same capability and the same feeling.
We've got to get through to Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Dorothy Gale?
I thought you'd be taller.
How soon could we see a sequel?
All right, I don't know if I should say it or not, but maybe it's in the works already.
Who's on your wish list to cast in a sequel?
We want to bring the same cast back if we can.
The sequel has some great new characters, but we haven't made any decisions on who can play them. We're still developing the characters and their arcs, so we haven't defined them enough yet to look for the talent, but it's coming closer.
Would you come back and do a sequel?
Boy, in a New York minute or in an Emerald City minute, I guess I would, yeah.
Fly, fly, my babies!
What are some of the changes from your original book into this film that you actually approve of and you like?
It does follow the book in the sense of a wide swath of the settings and so forth. And then they've managed to add more action to it.
One thing, Ryan, we like to think that Frank, while Roger was writing Dorothy of Oz, was looking over his shoulder. And I know he's here with us today. You can feel his presence. So we hope we do honor to his memory, as well as I couldn't be prouder of my husband and happier for him.
How much would you like to play Elphaba in Wicked?
Oh, 100%.